All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. It's been a few days since I have published a video, and I'm not going to go probably more than 5 minutes in this one. It might even be a lot less. What I did in the last two videos was I gave what I consider to be a pretty extensive introduction to using entity framework with C#. Now the time has come that I have to go and put this into action. Well, doing that, I had a boatload of problems. And what I ended up having to do, just to show you this real quickly, was I had to create a new folder, all right, that I just called DB+. And I've got in there the latest version. Now, why am I even showing you this? It looks exactly right now like the old version because basically it is. There have been a few changes made, but not too many. All right, I've got my BMI lib, my validation library, which should have probably been called validation lib, but it's okay. All right, and there's some other stuff that's in here, but I want to show you the two biggest things that I had to go in and change. All right, and one of them is actually, I believe, right here. I was using Target Framework 4.7.2, and that's a throwback to when I was using Visual Basic 2022. The problem with that is using it in that way introduced a whole lot of problems. I literally spend hours going from site to site looking for solutions on how to fix this. What I ended up doing was I ended up retargeting the framework, as you can see right there, to Net 8.0 minus Windows, which is version 8. That allowed me to come in here and add this and these. And why should we care? Well, this is Entity Framework Core. This is Entity Framework Core for SQL Server. And you'll notice with both of them, I'm now using 8.0.22. Now, I believe that the newest version is 10.1.1. All right. And I'm pretty close to it. Maybe not exactly, but before I was trying to use like 3.1.32, and I had just nothing but problems. So I've got that changed, and that's in the BMI lib. And in the validation lib, the same kind of thing had happened. I guess it's not showing in here. But if I come into here and I bring it up, I'll bring it up just in the editor here. It looks pretty much the same way. All right, now what I should do is I should come in and make sure it looks exactly like the other one, except for these lines here. We'll say validation, where the other one said BMI lib. All right, other than that, it's going to be just about exactly the same, I believe. Now when I run it, I'm getting a warning message that says this is really out of date and I should change it to something else. I'll have to track that down. But the reason I'm telling you this is that's why I haven't been online for the last few days. I've gotten it to work now. I've been able to go in and using, just to show you this real quick, I was getting all sorts of errors in here. I don't know if any of them will show anymore, but no. But now, notice I tried to install the Entity Framework Core version 8.0.2.2, and it came back in, and it said, successfully installed. All right. Then I went in and added the Entity Framework Core tools, and I added SQL Server, etc., but it all worked. Previously, I was getting a lot of red lines in here, meaning that it wasn't working. All right. And now, as far as I can tell, at least, it is working. All right. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you real quickly was this. You may have seen this when we started here. All right. The earliest programs that I have in this series are out at one repository, and for some reason I goofed up. It's called this, but it's really some of these in here these are the newest, or I'm sorry, these are the oldest ones, the ones I started with. They're all public, so if you go out to github.com/JeffTeachesProgramming/ all of my Jeff Teaches Programming C# programs, that's really a lie. That's the ones that are a few months old. All right. To get the second set of programs, which I just updated tonight, and that's everything through, except for the one I'm working on right now, which is adding the entity framework to the BMI GUI app. That's in this GitHub repository right here under github.com/JeffTeachesProgramming/C# programs through 1-4-2026. Now I'm going to go out to GitHub's site later and see if there's a simple way that I can combine these into one repository and be using that one from now on. Probably involve cloning something. All right. And I've got some experience with GitHub and Git, but to be honest with you, by no means would I consider myself an expert. So when I come back, and it probably won't be till Tuesday for various reasons, but when I come back then, I hope to be able to come in and rewrite so that the program here, all right, that right now looks like this. All right, that I'm going to be able to add a database component to it. It's not going to look like the other one. And what I mean by that is what we want to be able to add, and what I'm hoping to be able to add, are additional screens to this one. This is where I'll be able to come in and add somebody. Pretty obvious. But I also want to be able to come in and delete one or more records, update one or more records, etc. I want to be able to do CRUD operations. I want to be able to show all of them. Right now, if you do a bunch of them and you want to show it, you've got to do the show all, and it just shows them in a message box. They are being put into a database right now, and even as far as that goes, all right, if I come over here and I go to my view and I go to SQL Server Explorer and I go to, I think this was the one, all right, there is BMI database right there, all right, with just one table in it. And if I bring that up, there it is, and there it is. And if I query it, okay, so if I tell it to query this, and I say select star from BMI person, and I run this query, I get the records that I put in here thus far. All right, and you can see these were created a few days ago. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this is when I come back, I want to create another database, and I'm just going to call it BMI database 02. And I can give it the same table name, BMI person, but the first database is going to be the one that uses this older technology, also known as ActiveX Data Objects, or ADO.NET. The new one that we will be creating will be using Entity Framework. So the plan is to get that to work, hopefully on Tuesday, using Entity Framework. From there, where I want to go is I want to go to the payroll program GUI that we've been working on, and I want to be able to create that as a database entity framework application as well. Okay, I probably won't get all that done this week, but I'll do the best I can. After that, the last part of my series of videos that I'm going to do will involve me attempting to take both those applications, so both the BMI GUI application with Entity Framework and the payroll application GUI with Entity Framework, and convert each one to an ASP.NET application. And the reason for that is, if I can do that, and I'm not even sure if it'll work, but if I can do all that stuff, I'd be able to put it out on the internet. That's my hope. Okay? So that's all I had to say right now. And like I said, if you're interested in taking a look, these are all public. You know, if this can help anybody, you'd have to go in and basically copy, clone, or do whatever on each one of these repositories. But you'd have everything through and up until there is an Entity Framework 8 in there, but it's just a copy of the earlier one. All right? So I'll see you Tuesday. Until then.